What problem you are ready to put to rest?
There's so many.
Pick something simple for the
Yes.
demo purpose.
Okay. Just everybody else's problem.
I know
Um,
everybody has
yeah.
problems, but
Just
what
just
is
taking
your
care.
issue with
Yeah,
this?
just taking care of everybody else rather than myself. Even though, like, I know I'm trying to take care of myself, but there's just always interference where you have to help them, it's just a must.
Okay, well, putting others first,
Hmm.
or it's an ability to say no. What is it?
No, I don't think I can say no. It's like, it's immediate family, right, members, so I can't really say no because if I can help them, it will make my life easier, better.
Well, elaborate a little bit. Give us an example if you can.
um okay. So my daughter, she was involved in a car accident, so I'm busy with her, helping her with insurance. Thankfully she's okay, and just helping her to get some therapy and just helping her to get organized with that.
This is normal, though. She's your baby.
Yes, yes, she is.
What is the problem with this?
Just sometimes she doesn't see what I'm trying to tell her, to explain to her. She just sees it her way, and it's just we're butting heads with each other.
So your problem is really that she's not listening to you.
Right.
Because
She seems
not
to think she
listening, what does
knows.
it mean? Is it she's not appreciating?
No, she wants my help, but she feels that her way is the better way, or she feels that she knows it more than me.
What if she does?
That'll be great. I'm open to listen. I love,
In this case, I can just use a story or from my own life. I have rich experience. That's the beauty of being old. You have pretty much everything already happened in your life. You have experience. Or I can make up a character, or I can remember someone I worked with, my past clients, my neighbors, my friends, or I've seen in a movie, or I've read in a book, or totally make it up. Okay, I can maybe give example from my own life. My sister, she's younger. When we were growing up, I had to take care of her all the time. My parents worked all day long. I was in charge. And then when we already grown up, I still was in that mode of taking care of her. But she had other ideas of how the things should be done. And she felt that when I told her how to do things, I am imposing my ways on her. I'm restricting her freedom. So she resisted. And then I would feel unappreciated, hurt. I've done so many things for her. I would even tell her, I've done so much for you. You don't appreciate it, and you're making things difficult. If you just do the things I tell you, things would be easier for both of us. And one time, she started crying and screaming at me, which tells me I already crossed the boundaries so many times because people don't scream out of blue. It's a defense mechanism. I've already crossed too many lines. So she told me, maybe I don't want easier. I wanted better. And who else besides me knows what is better for me? So then I decided to step back. And at first, of course, it did not feel good. What does she know? What does she know? She'll get hurt and she'll come back to me. But what I've actually seen, she did pretty good job of taking care of herself. I didn't need to baby her all the time. I didn't need to take care of her or protect her. She could do it on her own. And it felt really good. Not feeling obligated, not feeling that it's my job. I felt more free. And if you just consider this idea maybe as a tiny experiment and just play with this. I wonder how soon you'll realize that your life too might have more freedom, more space for your daughter to do the things she believes in that are best for her, and for you to actually regain the freedom and time to start taking care of yourself. If you just take a few deep breaths and just let go of that need of control. What if letting go of control means regaining the freedom? How much better would you feel then? That's right, you even took a deeper breath because it feels better, isn't it? There is less restriction. Yeah. I haven't even used a lot of, hypnotic language. But look, the eyes are a bit spaced out, withdrawn, right? The body softened. What's happening?
Yes, I am more relaxed. I'm more calmer. Yeah. I feel like I'm lightheaded.
You're trancing out a bit, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that is conversational. I didn't have, formal traditional hypnosis session. We just chatted. But I could do exactly the same thing as a formal hypnosis session. I could say, okay, close your eyes now. I could do one of our inductions to help to relax deeper, and then use the same story. Maybe expand a little because now I have more freedom. In formal session, I can be more elaborate with my language. I can embed now direct and indirect suggestions, more imagery, whether those things not always appropriate in conversation. It would feel weird, right? But here it was so short, very little, and still, I believe it had an effect on you. You will tell us what happened
Yes.
later.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Did we see simple example?
Just feedback, because again, a lot of my conversations with people is giving advice, and sometimes the energy can feel very overwhelming going back and forth, and I felt more grounded in that, and I could see how that could help ground me more before a session too, get more clear on what we're focusing on versus all this feelings or emotions or things going on. So that to me was just kind of very eye-opening just to get started, kind of set the tone too. So I think that was a great little sample you shared with us. Thank you.
Do you see how you can use it when they just call you to book an appointment? They already said, for example, that yes, they're ready to book and just send invoice. You can already precondition them. Oh, you'll see. I already helped so many people with the exact same issue. It's not as complex. We'll work it through. You already started it. Then you can drop few things in your email when you're sending stuff, forms, invoice, and then they come in. You start the session. You're asking questions. You already can start working without them realizing it. Then you can continue with your regular formal hypnosis session. Then you can finish afterwards with a few more suggestions. Reina, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm curious why. I'm always curious why things work and how they work. And like in metaphors and in stories, is it because since we think in images, it's, or is it relational? Do we relate it to ourselves? Just why some of these, stories or metaphors tend to be retained by the brain a little. Uh-huh.
That's our human nature. We project everything on ourselves. Everything we see. Things are said in a crowd was absolutely not related to us, but we tend to take it in personally. Some stranger looked, we think he looked at us in a weird way. He didn't even notice us, but we take it personally. We watch a movie, we projecting ourselves into the story. How would I deal with this situation? Well, if I was there, I would do it differently. We read in the book, we projecting ourselves, and then here, with our language, we consider it. Someone just like you, another woman in your age category, or in similar situation. So we're projecting ourselves even more.
You're allowing her to see it through the eyes of someone else. So she's looking at the same situation, but she's able to pull herself out of the emotion. And I think also how you delivered it, the way you delivered it, you pulled out your emotions and you were able to deliver it slow, gently, compassionately. You gave her time to process, calm herself down, and pull herself back like the eagle out of the situation and observe now from above, as opposed to being in the lotus in the mud, you know? I think that instantly her face changed, her face, her posture kind of, instead of being like this when she was talking to you, she kind of went back and was more of a, not, I'm 100% in this, but okay, I see it from that angle now, you know. I think it was the way you delivered it, though.
Well, that's what every hypnotist should be doing. There are many components. First, you're a human being. There's another real life human being in front of you. You should truly care, compassion, attention, empathy. And then your voice. That's why we're working on developing your voices. So you sound more confident. If I got nervous, gee, I don't know what to do in this situation. If my throat squeezed, Bedatri would feel it instantly. Well, I knew this situation is unsolvable. Why am I even here? You too don't know how to solve it. Then the pace.
Or had you been authoritative and used that demeanor?
Yeah, so what would be authoritative approach here? Bedadri, you stop it. Here's how you're going to do. I do it all the time, though. There are places for it too. That's how I sometimes talk to, and you heard me too. Here's what you're going to do now. This is authoritative, right? But in this situation, it probably wouldn't be helpful at all.
Because
right?
you're coming with the same approach as the daughter. Like you would be coming with the same approach.
Yeah. And here, that was a permissive. Look, that's what I experienced. I wonder if you too can look at it differently, right? It wasn't covered. My intention was obvious. I didn't hide it. The plot was very clear, obvious. I didn't try to confuse her. So it wasn't covered. But it was throughout conversation too. At the same time.
What if, like, even when you asked her how she felt after, there was some softening, but what if the client's like still resisting? So you're telling this story, but as much as maybe they're relaxing, they're resisting the opening for something different.
I would comment on that too. Well, just like right now, you froze a bit. You use everything you observe. You use everything. I would use it to her advantage too. If Bedatri's body got tensed, if I felt resistance, I know what you're experiencing now, just like I did before. When my sister told me that I'm hurting her, I too was taken aback. How could I hurt you? I did so much for you. I'm taking care of you. This is how I'm loving you. But then, very soon, I realized that I was wrong. So you're using everything your client gives you. You're commenting on it. And just like this, as you frozen the moment, reconsidering all of it, I felt the same. And I wonder now, how much time do you need to process it and look at this situation differently? Perhaps a few days? Perhaps already with another breath you'll take, you'll feel a bit more open to it. All right, do we want to do another demo? Who would like to volunteer?
I wouldn't mind you doing the allergy one because, I've been suffering with allergy stuff and I know it's from holding on to stuff. So if no one else wants to go, I would love to do that.
Okay, Melanie. Hello, pretty lady. Want to say the compliments we give each other, it's too a suggestion. So be generous on those.
Thank you. Feeling tired.
All right. What's your problem, Melanie?
I've been struggling with allergy stuff, so I get like inflammation in the nasal heat, like sinus areas here and kind of here. And I do recognize like if I'm holding on to stuff or like tension, it seems to get worse.
Emotionally, you mean holding on?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
How would you describe your way of holding on to the emotions?
Like bottling it up, or like becoming like frustrated, agitated. So yeah, I guess you could say like bottling up.
Okay.
Suppressing.
Emotions in relation to other people, you're not expressing them, you're not coming forward, or you tend to marinate your own things when you're processing it?
Both.
Both?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
but I could say both going on. I realized like I don't feel like I'm speaking, but I don't feel heard. And then maybe that's when I go back to marinate in either the feelings of not being heard or how can I better express myself. So I like overthink it, I guess you could say, the marinating part.
Because you did not express yourself timely, right?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Okay. Such a common issue. Every client that came with a similar thing, actually, it's not only related to allergy. Stuttering can be the case. That chronic pain that is created by constant tension, like when we hide, almost like, what is it called? Hiding head like a turtle into our shoulders. That can cause a lot of chronic pain because if you tense your muscles for a long time, it creates inflammation. It can be manifestation of very different things caused by not expressing yourself timely. And people do this for different reasons too, whether they don't want to hurt someone's feelings. That's their way of taking care of others, loving them. Or maybe it's due to insecurities. But what I found, it doesn't really matter which situation exactly it is. For all of those clients that I worked with on these issues, their favorite exercise was opening a car window and expressing everything they bottled up openly because nobody can hear you when you're driving. And the faster you drive and louder you scream, especially in the highway, it releases so fast. It gets carried away by the wind instantly. So every client reported that was the best thing for them. It brings instant relief. I wonder if you two start doing that. At least what you've already bottled up a while ago, you can unload that little by little. But at the same time, it is helpful to develop that skill of open communication. And in many cases, that is so helpful too. And that, I wonder how soon you'll see that in your life, will improve so many different parts of your life when you don't hold things back, when you communicate what you feel instantly. Imagine if you drive and the stoplight held back, did not bother to express itself timely. I want to let you go now. It should be green light on, but let me think and marinate it for a while. Because I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want you to feel rushed. Imagine that's what we do when we don't tell people how we feel. I am upset, but I'm going to hide it. And a person thinks there's nothing wrong, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing until I can't hold it anymore. And then it explodes like a volcano, and they are terrified because they weren't ready. There weren't no signs. I'm just like that stoplight, not turning the red. And can be the opposite if this is a very positive experience and maybe I'm on a date and I really like the person I've just met. I'm really attracted to him, but I'm holding myself back. God forbid he realizes I like him. That's why many of the second dates never happen, because we hold ourselves back, we hide the attraction, and then man is completely close. Well, she didn't like me. Why would I bother? So this is disservice when you hide it. It would be so helpful to everyone, including yourself, to turn that light with its green, red, or a yellow. Let me think for a moment. Just imagine that internal stoplight. It's never should be going dark, because if it's dark, it's not working, then the whole traffic becomes chaotic and it's a dangerous situation. So you have to display some light at some time, right? Why are you smiling?
Because I like everything you're saying resonates. The traffic light was like a great visual for my marinating brain to take with me. Like I'll literally be at stoplights now moving forward and think about it. So it's very interesting to me. Like you're talking about the hood. I do that. I've been doing that for years. Like I intentionally do that to be left alone. But if, just like the visualization I'm getting of things, it all makes sense.
So that's example of conversational hypnosis. You've probably felt nothing really, trance or a relaxation, but I bet it would be really embedded. And yeah, as you said, every time you pass the stoplight, you'll think about it. What light am I shining right now? Is it red? Is it warning? No more. Don't cross my boundaries. Or it's a green. Yeah, I like that. Give me more of that. I'm welcoming it.
Well, even the yelling out of the car, like that's something that I do actually do. And it feels really great when you do it. So like if I was, let's say a first client never went to you before, like all these things are firing off in my brain. Like she gets it. She understands and stuff, I already do, making me want to like I want more of it. Let's dive deeper into it, you know. And then again, like with the stoplight, you gave me a tool to check in, like, you know, there's a time for yellow, but you can't sit there forever like that. And you can't sit in the red. So I really like that for like a brain like mine, I guess.
I don't know if everyone noticed it. Melanie told me that, yeah, now I will be thinking about the stoplights, right? We'll be looking at it. Then I just repeated it, reinforced it. I didn't notice any glassy eyes, although there wasn't any. I didn't lead to it. But I still could find something. Melanie gave me something to go farther. Very simple, right?
Yeah, thank you. Because like I said, I have ideas and things that have come up, but you know, like a tool to kind of work through it more and get it going. So yeah, I feel like you gave me that in a different just perspective to sit with, you know, and be mindful of it. So thank you. That was good.
Thank you. Who else would like? Sylvie, did you want to?
Yes, of course.
What's your problem, Sylvie?
I don't have any problems. No. You know what? I'm always so I keep myself so busy, distracting, trying to do so many things. And I've just added these 2 courses onto my plate. I'm retired, so I don't need to do anything, but I choose to keep bringing everything in. Maybe something helping me to organize my mind a little bit better and to remain calm. I love how your calmness seeps into everything. I've always been a fighter, like literal fighter. I love martial arts. So I've always been that. I'm fire. I've got 7 Sagittarius and 7 placements, so I'm true fire. So I really, but since so many shifts in my life, I really am now starting to embrace the softness and the kindness, and I really like that. So I think maybe I just need some help on that, being more, like you said earlier, I guess, motherly or loving, or you know, Mother Mary-ish, sort of compassionate, not so passionate.
You see, Sylvie, how many things you've mixed in.
Sorry.
Overwhelmed, too many things. Mixing too many things now, like, can I be more soft and motherly? Now can I be more orderly? There's so many, well, related but also not things.
Okay, so let's maybe say orderly.
Orderly,
Yes.
because bringing too much things to, I mean, by what measures, comparing to what? Not doing anything. That people are not doing anything. Maybe this is a way to stay alive, to feel alive. Is
And
that a bad thing?
I like to be proactive, and I like to be busy. I don't feel overwhelmed. I think maybe just more orderly, more organized, more,
What does the word order means to you, really?
maybe have a better flow of things, like manage my calendar better. I get caught up in emotions, and so I get excited. Like, I've been excited about this course. I mean, I had to catch up a little bit because I just started on Friday. So I had to catch up. So I have been very busy watching all of this stuff. And I think it's just being able to flow with it and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to take some time here to be with my family and not worry about everything else that has to get done. and appreciate it. But I'll give you an hour and then I'll come back and do this for an hour, not do this for 12 hours.
For the moment, use imagination.
Okay.
Imagine there is a train, one specific train, freight train. Okay, it has important things on it. Produce, grains, also coals, also merchandise. And now it has to go on the route from city to city, from state to state, deliver all those goods that are loaded on that train, right? There are lots of stuff. It can be as many as 100 or even more. And once the route is on the map, just like we put our things, to-do lists in the planner or a calendar, train has some sort of planner to produce, have to be delivered maybe to Maryland. Coal has to be delivered to Virginia. Merchandise has to be taken to Alabama. Eventually, in a few days, the train has to end up in California, unload other things, and also load up maybe fruits, which eventually should be delivered to Canada. There are lots of different things going on. And imagine if the train got too emotional and excited. That's too much to do. And I also don't want to wait for the proper sequence. I want to go to Canada first. But it's not possible because first the train has to go to California and get fruits. It doesn't matter how excited the train gets. The things have to be done in certain order to achieve the result you want. Right?
Yes.
Once it gets on the track, it can only go in one direction in a proper order, the way it was planned. It doesn't matter how excited the train is. The mood in this case has no relevance. If the train has to do this, that number one on to-do list, how excited you are or on which mood you are, it doesn't really matter. You do the things in the proper order, one thing at a time. Your excitement doesn't mean that you start from the end of the list and then go back, right?
Right.
You can only do it in proper order if you actually want it done, and I assume you do want it done. That's the whole point of having those things on your list. If you didn't want them to be done, if they weren't interesting for you enough, they wouldn't be there. So I can assume that you really wanted them. And it's only natural thing to be very excited about it. But I wonder now how much more exciting and enjoyable the things will be if you go through them in proper order at the right time. Number 3 never comes before number 1. You can only start with number 1, and from number 1 proceed to the second and the third, and go on once you get on that track, just like this train. You can only go in one direction, and that is the right way, isn't it? How do you feel now about following the order?
I feel teary-eyed.
trance out a bit. Yeah, teary eyes. You remember, ladies, the sign of the trance.
I can feel my solar plexus is almost like a sun ready to burst. Look, I'm crying. I feel
Tears of relief. Isn't it beautiful?
it reminds me that I am capable. And because I haven't worked for so long, it reminds me of how productive and how good of a worker I am. And I've forgotten about that for so long because I figured my my duties as a house mother and housewife, I forgot how important they were. And I put my importance on always being an achiever at work. And then not having work for so long, I degraded myself. I guess. And now I feel like I have a purpose again. With my husband losing his job and knowing how good I am counseling others and listening and providing sane advice and how tuned in to oneness and the frequency of consciousness. It just
It
gave me
feels
that,
good to get
that
on
remembrance.
the track, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the
Yeah, I
only
guess.
way is forward, there is no way back.
And you can't go to number 3 before you go to number 1. When you said that, I got truth bumps through my whole body because that's.
But it's you're not even starting from number 1.
Mhm.
You're already so much far ahead, aren't you?
Mhm.
You weren't born yesterday. You have all your experience. And when you said you didn't have a purpose when you stayed at home and took care of just home.
And 2 children.
But you see, 2 children. What is there more purposeful than that? Understanding that, how much more you can share with your future clients. And now that you understand all that you truly possess, it would be crime to hold it back. The sooner you start sharing it, the more of benefits this world will receive. And you know, when you give to the world, you always also receive. I wonder how beautiful those gifts will be that you will be receiving. And all it takes, the simple thing of getting back on your track and doing things in proper order, one step at a time. How you feeling?
I feel eager. I feel driven. I feel like I feel like I'm back on, I'm on a new track, not the same old track but I'm on a new track, and it feels good to look at things and life differently and to appreciate where I've come from and what I have.
Thank you so much, Sylvie.
Thank you, Guzalia.
Thank you.
I have a question. And again, I'm overthinking this, but I got something different out of what you were doing with her, but I did get something. So let's say you were doing maybe like a group session or class for people that, let's say, like caregivers or stay-at-home moms, kind of just keeping it on the subject she was talking about. Could you do this conversational, like, and make it, I guess, generalize it or something? Would you say that that would work in that setting, or you recommend this more for one-on-one stuff?
Well, conversational, you can do it with a group though, right? But you can use the same metaphor I used in regular hypnosis session.
Or like, for example, like for many of us, we've spent years like on the wrong track or going against the track or something like that. I just wasn't sure, some stuff.
Okay, like in this specific case, Sylvia said she felt that she didn't have a purpose all this time, did not really value that experience, did not have appreciation for the work she did. It's as though she was lost. It's like the train that was taken off tracks. But once you realize how much work you've put in, how much of importance your work had, then you realize you never came off the track. You were there, you standing firmly on the track. You just have to dust up your train and start moving again in the direction that is right for you.
Melanie, I just thought when Guzalia said that, I just thought about you saying you came home and your house smelt like funk and you had to clean it up. That's what I felt like. The trains smelt like funk and I have to clean the track up. I have to clean my mind and be kinder.
Well, that visual stood out for me too. Again, just it's not where, again, we don't have it there. It's just we need to clean it up, or like an oil change or something to get it going again. It's not where you have to start from scratch and find a new train and you abandon your old, but I like the metaphors and the visuals that you use, Guzalia, because I could see for certain brains how, like, you were talking about doing this as a pre-session. We'll use the stoplight thing or the train, but we're already going to be out before our session, noticing and picking up those little things.
Yes.
And go to the actual hypnotherapy session. In some ways, it's already embedded in our subconscious, I guess. So,
So homework. When you have time, go watch other, because I'm more concise there on the techniques. Okay? And download the sheets from there with phrases. Actually script the full sentence, because those are just prompts, beginnings of the sentences. You script the full few different examples and see how they can be implemented in regular speech and start speaking this way. Okay? And also download the PDF where it says the framework for metaphor. Well, it's a very specific formula. You just fill in relation to what issue you want to solve. Pick something of your own and make a script. There are also audio sessions, hypnosis sessions that I did with this type techniques. So listen to those when you have time. So that's your homework. And next one, we will do more, I showed a little bit in the demo, but we'll do more. How do you use everything that your client gives you in hypnosis? It can be implemented during pre-talk, or even if you're just doing coaching session. You don't always have to explain what you do. Especially with conversation, like this type of hypnosis, it may work, may not work. It doesn't mean that if it looks like it's not working, you did not seed something in it, some positive seed for change. It just, in a moment, your client might not respond the way you want him to or her. And if you say, we're going to do this type of like conversational hypnosis, I'll hypnotize you during our conversation. Now you set expectations that now they don't know how to behave, what to do, all screwed. They should not be aware of it. That's the whole point. But it also gives you a chance to practice, polish your skills. There is no expectation. You know, you'll have all the chances during formal session to embed all the suggestions in whatever style of hypnosis you're going to use. But prior, just use this chance for a few minutes to polish your skill. You'll see the response, make a note, oh, that worked well. I'm gonna use more of it. Well, that didn't really resonate. How can I tweak it? Or maybe it's not useful in my work at all. I can drop it. So experiment. Just don't warn your client. Record everything you do. So that type, if you will be hired by certain agencies, that is useful there. Or in sales, that is useful skill. But your clients don't need to know that, although they will experience it.